will not be allowed to stay. We've got a deportation bill. It's there. It's ready. If the government wanted to, they could put it in place tomorrow. We'd disapply the Human Rights Act on cases of immigration. We would put visa sanctions on countries who refuse to take people back. We would get people home. And if they couldn't go home, they would be going elsewhere. They would not be the burden on the British taxpayer.
Well, I can ask you elsewhere where in a moment, but
9 million a day to house illegal migrants, while Britain's queue for housing yet Labour calls it progress. Matt Vickers exposes the hotel scandal the media won T-Touch and reveals the instant fix care Starmer refuses. Watch before the High Court caves again.
If you were to be in government moving forward?
There was two things that were happening. One was we were reducing the number of people who were in hotels. It nearly halved by the end of the last government. But the reality is we brought forward that bill. To be honest, we don't care where you send them. If you need to send people back to where they came from, and if you can't do that, you need to send them somewhere else. That's what Rwanda was all about, deporting people who have broken into this country, who've come in illegally, removing them, sending them back to wherever they came from. And if that can't happen, Rwanda, those people now, under this Labour government, aren't going to Rwanda. They're going to Redcar, to Romford, to Richmond. They're being dumped all over the country. That is not the way forward. If you break in, the only way to end this crisis is to send a clear message to people that if you break into this country, you will not be allowed to stay. We've got a deportation bill. It's there. It's ready. If the government wanted to, they could put it in place tomorrow. We'd disapply the Human Rights Act on cases of immigration. We would put visa sanctions on countries who refuse to take people back. We would get people home. And if they couldn't go home, they would be going elsewhere. They would not be the burden on the British taxpayer.
Well, I can ask you elsewhere where in a moment, but 70% of people, roughly, just under, who apply for asylum are actually granted it. And one of the practical questions for now, in the event that the court decides, right, this hotel can't be used for asylum seekers, is that we have 138 asylum seekers. Where are they supposed to go? Where would you put them?
Well, first and foremost, the Conservative councillors who brought forward that challenge in Epping were right to do so. If we can get this thing through, we will go across the country getting other councillors to do the same thing, to take these people out of the centre of communities where they're placing pressure on public services, where people are concerned about going to the town centre. They're also having a huge economic impact because they're taking bedrooms, hotel bedrooms, out of circulation, huge damage to local hospitality businesses. But the reality is, A, you need to put them somewhere else. We said we would look at camps, but moreover, you just need to send that clear message. If you come here, you will not be allowed.
Sorry, what camps are you referring to? Sorry, what sort of camps?
We will look to camps. We actually looked at using disused army barracks before the general election. We had nearly halved the number of people in these hotels. The reality is you need to stop people coming. And what this government done is actually the opposite of that. There are now nearly 50% more people arriving in this country. That's because Keir Starmer changed the law. He said if you break into the country, you can become a British citizen. What message does that send to these people?
I don't think Keir Starmer has ever said that. I don't think he's ever said that at all.
It's a fact. He has changed the law to allow people who come here illegally to become British citizens. That is a fact. It was illegal before. We put it in black and white. If you break in, you can't become a British citizen.
Okay, hang on. Sorry, Rob, just 1 second. Right. So one of the things that you need to do is you need to negotiate where they're going to go back to. It's not... I'm not a member of the government in any way, shape or form, but you've said a lot of things there that we just need to help people understand. First of all, you know, they've negotiated a deal with France, the first time which the Conservative government weren't able to return, and they've said all the way along they want to smash the gangs and indeed stop the illegal crossings. What you haven't answered is the question, which is, in the short term, where would you put people that need to be processed? You've mentioned camps, but effectively they aren't built, so how quickly would you be able to build them? There is a practical problem for which asylum hotels solved during the Conservative government. They brought them in, that I still don't understand how you were going to solve.
So, in terms of where you are putting people, we had the last government, towards the back end, had halved the number of people in hotels by looking at disused army barracks, by looking at alternative accommodation. We had the Bibi Stockholm, for instance. We had disused army barracks. We're seeing you set up camps. You cannot dump these people in the town centre.
The Labour Party also looked at camps as well. I mean, both governments have. I think what people...
The reality is that since they came to office, the number of people arriving in the country has gone up, not just a little bit, it's gone up hugely by nearly 50%. The number of people in hotels has gone up hugely, and the number of people being deported who've arrived here illegally has gone down. The entire dashboard is flashing red. It's going the wrong way. You need to tell people that if they come here illegally, they will not be allowed to stay. Until that happens, these people are going to continue to come in ever-increasing numbers.
Well, it's good to talk to you today, Matt Vickers. Thank you.
I'm sick of hearing the same tired excuses. The left keeps shouting, where will you put them? As if that is the only question that matters. What they never ask is why we keep importing more mouths to feed when our own towns are crumbling, our own veterans sleep on the streets, and our own pensioners choose between heating and eating. The numbers the interviewer threw at Matt Vickers' 56,000 migrants in hotels, 9 million a day were from September 2023, under the Conservatives. Yet the left acts as if that single snapshot proves hypocrisy. It does the opposite. It proves the problem was already out of control before Labour opened the floodgates even wider. Look at the pattern. In the last full year of Conservative rule, small boat arrivals hit a record 45,755. That was a national scandal, and the reason the Rwanda plan was drawn up in the first place. Within months of Starmer taking office, the Home Office quietly dropped every deterrent. No more Rwanda removals, no more age assessment reforms, no more fast-track deportations. The result? By the first quarter of this year, small boat numbers were up 36 year-on-year, and total irregular arrivals, including visa overstays and lorry stowaways, were pushing 70,000. When you signal that Britain will never remove anyone, of course more come. The left loves to say 70 of asylum claims succeed. What they do not say is that 70 figure is only reached after years of appeals, coached stories, and last-minute fresh evidence churned out by immigration lawyers who earn $300 an hour. The initial grant rate at first decision is closer to 38. Once you strip out the obviously fraudulent claims, Albanian men claiming to be Syrian teenagers, Iranian economic migrants posing as persecuted converts, the true grant rate collapses even further. The system is being gamed, and the taxpayer foots the bill. I keep hearing the mantra, we need safe and legal routes. Rubbish. We already have them. Britain resettles more genuine refugees through the UNHCR per capita than almost any country in Europe. Last year, we took 25,000 Afghans, 144,000 Ukrainians, and 5,000 Syrians under official schemes. Those people were screened abroad, arrived with papers, and moved straight into communities that had volunteered to help. Compare that to the dingy riders who pay people smugglers $3,000 cash, destroy their passports at sea, and then melt into the black economy. Which group sounds more deserving to you? The hotel figure is only the tip of the iceberg. Every bed taken by an asylum seeker is a bed lost to British holidaymakers, wedding parties, or contractors working on local infrastructure projects. In Folkestone alone, 6 seafront hotels are permanently block-booked by the Home Office. The council estimates $6 million in lost tourism revenue last summer because visitors could not find rooms. Multiply that across Kent, Sussex, and Essex, and you are looking at hundreds of millions wiped off the balance sheets of coastal towns that already struggle outside peak season. And spare me the sob stories about traumatized refugees. The Home Office's own data, obtained under Freedom of Information, show that 74 of small boat arrivals in 2023 were young men aged 1839. These are not widows and orphans, they are fit, military-age males who have passed through a dozen safe countries to reach soft-touch Britain. France, Belgium, Germany, the Netherlands, all safe. Yet they keep coming because they know once they step on British soil, removal is almost impossible. The interviewer demanded to know where we would house 138 asylum seekers if the Bell Hotel is ruled out. Here is my answer: nowhere on British soil. We should process them offshore, the way Australia does on Nauru and Papua New Guinea. Within 48 hours of arrival, every illegal entrant should be flown to a third country processing hub, Rwanda, Albania, or even a disused RAF base in Ascension Island. While their claims are decided, they remain outside Britain. No hotels, no council houses, no free NHS treatment. If their claim is genuine, they come here legally. If not, they go home. Simple. The left howls that this breaches international law. Which law, exactly? The 1951 Refugee Convention was written for Europeans fleeing Stalin's tanks, not economic migrants shopping for the best welfare check. Article 31 says refugees should not be penalized for illegal entry if they come directly from a territory where their life is threatened. A man who flies from Iran to Turkey, then treks through Greece, Italy, France, and Belgium before crossing the Channel is not coming directly. He is country shopping, and the convention gives him no right to do so. I am tired of the straw man that says the right has no compassion. Compassion starts at home. Right now there are 1.2 million households on council house waiting lists in England alone. In my own town, a single mother with 2 kids has waited 8 years for a 2-bed flat, while newly arrived migrants jump the queue because councils have a legal duty to house vulnerable adults. How is that fair? How is it compassionate to tell a British teenager that she cannot have a room of her own because a 25-year-old Albanian man needs her council flat more? The economic cost is staggering. The Home Office's own impact assessment puts the lifetime cost of each failed asylum seeker at $470,000 legal aid, appeals, detention, interpreters, healthcare, accommodation, and eventual removal. With 170,000 cases still in the backlog, that is $80 billion in future liabilities. To put that in perspective, $80 billion would build 400 new hospitals or fund the entire state pension triple lock for 5 years. Every pound spent on a fraudulent claim is a pound stolen from British citizens. Some say the answer is more caseworkers, faster decisions, bigger detention estates. That is like trying to mop faster while the tap is still running. The only durable solution is to turn off the tap. Denmark has done it. It passed a law allowing asylum claims to be processed outside Europe and capped refugee resettlement at 500 a year. Result: boat arrivals fell to 0. Israel did the same after it completed its border fence with Egypt. Illegal entries dropped by 99. Walls work, offshore processing works, deterrence works. The interviewer kept pressing Matt Vickers on short-term logistics. That is classic left misdirection. They never ask how we will fund the NHS in 10 years when the population has ballooned by another 5 million. They never ask how we will integrate 100,000 Afghans who still speak no English after 3 years. They never ask how we will police the Sharia courts that now operate in parts of London and Birmingham. Those questions are too awkward, so they fixate on 138 hotel guests. I say the Conservative plan is not perfect, but it is a start. Disappoint the Human Rights Act for immigration cases. Repeal the Modern Slavery Act loophole that gangmasters use to keep victims silent. Make visa overstays a criminal offense with automatic deportation. And above all, send the message loud and clear: Britain is not a free hotel with open borders. The Bell Hotel case is a sideshow. The real battle is for the soul of the nation. If we lose, there will be no Bell Hotel, no seaside towns, no green fields left, just an endless queue of newcomers demanding their right to everything our grandparents fought to build. I will not apologize for putting British citizens first.